So you have all these ideas, you've created all this content, you have all this music, you have all these business ideas, but you haven't put anything out. You can't figure out how to put it out there. Well, this week on Motivation and Confidence, we're going to tell you about how to create a system. Stay tuned. All right, everybody worldwide, you're now tuned into Motivation and Confidence, where we help you do your daily best. And I'm your host, Tom Danger. Back this week with another episode. And this week we are at, I think we're almost at like episode 170. And the reason why I mention the numbers is consistency. Whatever you do, you have to be consistent. There probably been a couple of weeks where we took off, and honestly, we don't ever really take off. Funny story. So last week, we did a really cool episode about remote life and what type of remote life employee you are, and the type of employee that works their side business from home, the type of remote employee that sits right in front of their laptop the whole time, and you have the other type of employee that basically just goes about their day and just does everything through their cell phone. And as long as you're accessible by your cell phone, you feel like you're working. So it was a dope episode. It was really cool. I was going in. I was giving gems and all that. So we have this new lavalier mic. And it helped the sound to sound crisp and full. Right now we're using the Movi mic attached to it, right? And for some reason, the lavalier mic was not charged. So we did this 15-minute clip. And I went on this total rant with all this value to give to you guys, and the audio didn't work. So yeah, that was last week's episode that never came out. It was a beautiful shot. I can still show you the shot. I mean, we still have the shot, and it just looks like I'm going like this. Right? There's no sound whatsoever. So quantifying, just to let you know, stay consistent. Sharing what happened last week, because reality is shit happens. So sometimes things won't work out as you plan, but I think that it's cool that I can share the experience with you guys to know that I wasn't slacking. It was just technical difficulty. Now, truthfully, if I were really leading by good example, I should have shot another episode afterwards. But we did so much footage last week that by the time we finished that particular clip, man, it was just like, whew, I need to take a break. Okay, so that's what we did. So I posted, as I do quite often, a poll on IG and stories. And it was a question of sort of, what do you need help with? And from a percentage standpoint, quite a few people mentioned that they need to create a system. So I'm going to break down for you in the simplest format how I started from where I was to where I am right now, right? This isn't no high level complicated. This is me and you having a conversation. And the first thing that I did was, in my phone, by managing my time, I scheduled my entire day. So I scheduled literally my alarm from when I wake up in the morning to where I'm exercising, to where I'm using the bathroom, to where I'm eating breakfast, to where I'm doing transportation to work, commuting to work, to my office time, to transportation back home, to dinner time, to talking with my wife, to working on side projects, and an alarm to go to sleep. That is the first system that I created. And I did that for Monday through Friday. So literally, oh, mind you, I also included sleep. So that I mapped out the 24 hours in a day. Everything that I wanted to do 5 days a week. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. The first month, it meant nothing. It was just a bunch of timers that were in my phone, right? It was just always pling, go, bling, 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 alarms go like you're supposed to be, journaling, you're supposed to be. I was like, okay, enough. But I mapped it out, I want to say for at least 6 months. So I put it on repeat so that the reminders would always come up. And what happened over time is, after a while, by probably the 3rd month, I would say to myself, wow, it's 11:15. It's time to go to bed. Even if I wasn't tired, I would still lay down and let my body rest. And another thing I would do is I would time my phone so that it would go into sleep mode for like all the apps and stuff, so that I'm not laying in bed browsing social media. So all that stuff was dead. Social media would turn off, and also, no phone calls, nothing could come in. I think the only thing I could do probably on the phone at that time was write or maybe read a book in the Kindle. Like, that's all that I had enabled. But that's the first thing that I did. Now, after the calendar was created, then, like I said, following the sleep pattern, but then now it's the alarm to wake up. So now I have this alarm that's waking me up at a particular time, and we're going into probably the 4th month. So every time I know the alarm's going to go off at 5:40 a.m., that this is the time that I need to get up, and by 6:30, I need to be exercising. So again, I used the tool of the calendar to help me create a routine, which then fell into a system. And this is a great segue. So talking about exercising, in addition to the exercising, I also use an app that's called Strava. So this way I could track all the days that I'm supposed to work out. Because in Strava, when I first started, I would have like a little, I think it had like a workout routine template or something like that. So it was like, you're supposed to be running at least 3 miles today, or you're supposed to be walking at least 3 miles today. And by having that in place, it's almost like having an accountability partner, because like if you don't make your mark, like it's sort of like you get like a red X or something like that, whatever it was, to say you didn't complete it. And it was something about not completing a task that I didn't feel good. So at first I didn't always hit my marks, but then over time it was like you get the reminder, like this is what you're supposed to be doing. I started to do it, okay? Work is pretty much autopilot. Like once you have a particular job, and depending on the industry that you're in, when you get there and you do a certain thing for so many years over and over, like it doesn't really take much thought. So you're not really deep or heavy into it like that. But I'll tell you one thing that I did do to help me from wasting time. In addition to the calendar, in addition to Strava, I would also create a list of tasks to do, like major things, so that my day is not dictated by email. Sometimes we have the habit of checking your email or checking your voicemail messages as soon as you get to the office, and now you're putting out the fires based upon the things that come in for the day. No. Make a list of the tasks that you need to do and focus on those. And like someone told me a long time ago, you can only plan half your day, because there's things that's always going to come up. But it's sort of like if you can accomplish 3 things today, those 3 things should be on that particular list. And that's how I would start my day at the office. To take it up to another level, what you could do is at the end of your workday, look at the things that you weren't able to complete and make a note of those things to start the day with tomorrow. And I've heard that one of the best ways to prepare yourself for the next day is to always prepare the day before, right? So at the end of your day, you create another list and you have that. Now you may be saying, damn, Danes, like all you do is create lists. Yeah, so how you create your list, it could be in your phone, it could be in your app, it could be reminders in your email, it could be post-it notes, but you want to have something that is a flag or indicator to say, this is what you should be doing, okay? And it has to be on a repeated basis. 21 days to build a habit, 90 days to build a lifestyle. So with all these reminders and things that are going off, that's how I got myself into a particular habit of sooner or later, like, you won't even need those particular reminders, because you'll just know, like, I don't need the alarm to go off at 5:40 to know that I'm supposed to get up, because most of the time I'll probably wake up at 5:30, because I know internally in your mind, in your body, you will know that at a particular time you're supposed to be doing a particular task. So now we're going to fast forward, okay? So you heard about the calendar, you heard about writing down the list, you heard about using certain apps to track your exercise. Let's say if you really want to get focused in on a particular task, there's something that's called the Pomodoro timer, right? And the Pomodoro timer is another app that you can use, or people call it like a tomato timer, in which the same thing, it puts all the apps on your phone to sleep, and you can sort of focus, I think, from anywhere from 25 minutes to maybe 50 minutes uninterrupted on a task, and then it allows you to take a 15-minute break. So it's almost like you are laser locked in focused on completing this particular task before you can do anything else on your phone, which I find to be really cool. But going back to the idea of the system, so for all my creators, when you are creating, make sure you have a special space that you do your creating. If you have a particular desk in your house, a chair, a corner, a sofa, wherever you draw your creativity energy from, make sure you utilize that space on a consistent basis, the same time, every day, to build that repetition and to build that consistency. Because you at least want to create so much to where you have a hard drive full of stuff, and at least it's just sitting there, okay? And here's a great segue again. Because once you get all of your content in one place, now you just have to create a system to put it out there. So if you're an artist, if you're a musician, and you have a bunch of songs, some of them may be unfinished or finished, you can basically put another calendar reminder in your phone to say every Friday, I'm going to release one song to SoundCloud. That's what you're going to do. Or the platform of your choice, whether it be IG, whether it be YouTube. The point is, in creating your system, you want to prove to yourself internally that you show up for you. That's where your system comes from. You're going to have to do some mental unlearning. The unlearning part is going to be kind of tough, because you're going to do it from the standpoint of, I don't care what type of response, meaning views, likes, comments, that this content may get. However, it is my goal to minimally release it in a consistent manner. Now, let's say if you're the type of person where you're super busy and you can't post it at that particular day and time, you want to get another app, some sort of content scheduling app. Or if we're talking about YouTube or SoundCloud or something like that, upload, let's say, a month. If you're doing once a week, that's only 4 pieces of content or 4 songs. Upload it, but don't publish it. Upload it and leave it in the draft so that once the reminder pops up on your phone, now boom, you can go back in. All right, I'm supposed to publish at this day and time. You just click the upload button. So you want to do as much prep work up front so that you can release it. Now, let's say like, man, you talking a whole lot, James, like how am I supposed to do this? If there are parts that you struggle with, meaning if you don't understand hashtags, or if you don't know how to do cover art, or you don't know how to do lyric videos, or whatever things that you feel like you can't do, 2 things I recommend. 1, I would just say go to Fiverr, find somebody that can do it for you. Find somebody that can do it for you. If you can't afford to, barter your services. If you make beats, and you know Dange write rhymes, and he looks as if he schedules his content, ask him to teach you, and in exchange you give him a couple of beats, right? If you, whatever product or service you have, if you cannot pay someone else for their service, use your time or your products in exchange to get the things that you fall weak into. And once you start to develop these relationships, and you start with that small system, it's just a matter of staying consistent. So So like I said to you, I think we're at episode 170. And the point of me mentioning that number is to stay consistent. But this is how I would recommend for you to start your system. Now, if you have different things that you use already in your system, please, as always, share it in the comments. Or if you have an idea that you'd like for us to talk about on the show, feel free to send an email, tommydanger@gmail.com. This is Motivation and Confidence, where we help you do your daily best.